The package to my own address. Some packages aren't meant to arrive. Others find their way to you anyway. At midnight, I heard a knock at the door. No truck, no courier. Just a box stamped with one command. Deliver at midnight only. Compartment 1. The arrival. I froze at the sight. The box had no return address. No postage marks. Only my full name and my exact apartment number written in uneven, spidery handwriting. My stomach twisted because I didn't order anything and nobody else lived here. I hesitated, but curiosity rooted me. The box was heavy, damp at the edges. A faint rustling came from inside, subtle but deliberate. It wasn't moving like paper. It moved like something alive, waiting to be freed. I dragged the box inside. The hallway felt tight, suffocating. Every light I turned on didn't feel enough. I placed the box on the table, and the scanner I keep for deliveries blinked. Package received, signature verified. My name perfectly written, though I had never touched it. Compartment 2, the first opening. Beneath layers of tissue, a small envelope waited. The words scrawled on its front made my blood run cold. Do not open until midnight. I glanced at the clock. 11:42 p.m. My hands trembled, but I knew I would open it when the hour struck. At midnight, I tore the envelope. Inside was a photograph. Grainy, but unmistakable. Me on my couch. Taken through my own window. My curtains, my lamp, the exact angle of my couch. And a message scribbled on the bottom. You looked lonely, so I sent you something to keep you company. The box rustled again. Louder this time, I stepped back. The paper shifted under its own weight. Something inside was moving, trying to get out. Compartment 3. Keys and texts. The next layer revealed another envelope, heavier, sealed with wax. I opened it and found keys, identical to mine. I tried them on the door. They slid smoothly, too smoothly. They weren't just keys. They belonged here, as though the box had placed them in my hand. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. Are you enjoying your delivery? I didn't respond. Another buzz. Smile. Then the tissue paper stirred violently. From beneath it, I saw the faint outline of fingers, pressing against cardboard, desperate to escape. My stomach turned as the hair on my neck stood on end. Compartment 4. The path to the bedroom. Another envelope, thinner, no bigger than a receipt. Typed words. Final delivery location. Your bedroom. My heart raced. I didn't want to follow the instructions, yet my legs moved toward the shadows of the hallway. Movement. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Something subtle, dragging fabric along the floor. Shadows stretched unnaturally. I saw the tissue crawl across the box like a living thing, leaving a faint wet trail behind. The phone buzzed again. Don't close the box. You'll suffocate me. My hand hovered above the lid. I wanted to flee, but some compulsion kept me rooted. Compartment 5. The revelation. The lid slid back slowly. Out came a figure. No face. Smooth, featureless skin. But it walked with intent. It knew the layout of my apartment, the route to my bedroom, the location of my fear. It stopped at the doorway, head tilted. A sense of a smile, though no mouth existed. The phone buzzed again. Delivery confirmed. The lights flickered and went out. Silence followed, heavy and suffocating. I dared not breathe. The box resealed itself. The rustling ceased, but the dread remained. Closing ritual. The midnight delivery is complete. Some packages arrive, whether you order them or not. Some don't leave, even when you want them to. If you dare to see more deliveries, subscribe. The horror box has another package waiting, and it always finds its recipient. Room 237 doesn't exist. I've worked night shifts at hotels for years, and I've seen drunk guests wander hallways, lost children crying, and pranksters pressing buttons endlessly. But nothing prepared me for the night. I encountered a room that officially didn't exist. I was finishing my rounds at 2:03 in the morning when the phone rang at the front desk. The guest on the line asked for a key to room 237. My stomach tightened immediately. There was no room 237. The hotel skips that number. It always has. "Sir," I said cautiously, "we don't have that room. Are you sure?" There was a pause. Then a voice, calm but with an undertone of insistence. "I'm positive. Send it now. I'll be waiting at the end of the hall." I checked the computer. Nothing. No record of a booking. No prior check-ins. I double-checked the guest's account. Clean. Verified. And yet, something in the voice, the certainty, made me uneasy. I grabbed a key from the master set, the one I never give out. Slowly, I walked the carpeted hallway toward the supposed room. The lights above flickered once, twice, and a soft hum filled the corridor. The air grew colder. My breath became visible in front of me, fog curling upward like ghostly fingers. The door at the end of the hall had no number, just a blank rectangle where a plaque might have been. I hesitated. My fingers trembled against the cold brass handle. Something instinctively warned me to stop, but I didn't. I couldn't. Turning the key, the lock clicked unusually smooth, as if it had been waiting decades for someone to use it. I pushed the door open. The room looked normal, at first perfectly ordinary. A bed, knit-stands, dim lamp, but something was off. The moment I stepped inside, the hallway light outside blinked out, leaving me in silence so deep it pressed against my ears. Then I noticed the bed. Someone was sitting there. Or had been. Only they weren't. The sheets were cold, creased as if freshly used, but empty. A chill ran down my spine. I wanted to leave, slam the door, run to the safety of the lobby, but curiosity anchored my feet. I stepped further inside. The air smelled faintly metallic, like iron and blood, though nothing was visible. From the corner of the room, a shadow moved. Not natural, not cast by the lamp. It twisted across the walls, a formless shape. It whispered soft, almost a sigh. "I've been waiting." My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text message from no one. "Don't leave. You're part of this now." I dropped the phone, heart hammering. My reflection appeared in the mirror across from the bed, but not quite right. My eyes were the same, my hair the same, but my mouth twisted into a smile I hadn't made. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the edge of the rug. The door slammed shut behind me, though I hadn't touched it. My hands pressed against the smooth wood. No lock engaged. No keyhole. Just sealed. Panic set in. I tried to call for help. My voice echoed unnaturally in the room, bouncing off the walls in impossible directions. "Hello? Anyone?" The sound seemed swallowed before it could reach beyond. Then the shadow condensed. Not fully formed, but enough to show a figure. Human, though stretched and wrong. Limbs elongated. Head tilting unnaturally, as if watching from multiple angles at once. My stomach churned. The figure didn't move closer. It didn't need to. It merely existed, bending reality around it, forcing me to see every corner of the room at once, every detail magnified. I felt every pore, every heartbeat, every thought reflected back at me in distorted ways. It whispered again, chillingly intimate. "You shouldn't be here, but now that you are. Stay." I tried the door. Locked. I tried the key again. It bent in my hand as if made of rubber. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time became meaningless. The lamp flickered. Shadows grew. And the figure's presence became heavier, pressing on my chest, constricting my breathing. I remember reaching for the phone again, forcing myself to call the front desk, call security. Nothing connected. No dial tone. The screen flashed. Welcome to room 237. I fell to my knees, gasping. The mirror reflected more than my image now. Multiple versions of me, each trapped in silent scream, eyes wide, hands reaching for the shadows that consumed them. My hands shook as I realized I had never been alone in the hotel. The building itself seemed aware. The walls whispered names I didn't know, yet recognized. The air tasted of fear, metallic, thick, alive. Desperation fueled me. I slammed the door, kicked, tried the windows. They didn't exist. Solid walls now, stretching impossibly. The bed sheets clutched at my fingers like tentacles, cold and unyielding. I screamed, a raw, primal sound that had no effect beyond echoing endlessly in that warped space. Then silence, complete. The figure remained hovering, its tilt-multiplied head following me as I crawled backward. My limbs burned, my lungs screamed, and yet I couldn't look away. I felt myself slipping, not physically, but mentally. Each thought I had became a reflection in the mirror, twisted and wrong. The fear, the panic, the horror, all multiplied infinitely. And then the whisper, "Now you belong here, forever." I woke in the lobby, morning sun streaming through the large windows. The clock read 7:15 a.m., no guests. No signs of the previous night. My uniform damp with sweat, my hair plastered to my forehead. I checked the guest ledger. Room 237 still didn't exist. No booking, no reservation, no record. But my hands, they bore scratches. Fresh, deep, jagged. Not enough to bleed heavily, but enough to remind me that I had been somewhere. Something had touched me. My phone buzzed. One new message. "See you next shift." Even now, I walk the hallways at night, checking every door, every mirror, every shadow. I know the room is there, always there, and it waits. If you dare to explore the horrors that linger just beyond the numbers you know, subscribe. The hotel has more rooms than it admits, and some doors should never be opened. The customer who died last year. Some orders never stop coming. Some customers never truly leave. It started with a simple notification on my delivery app. An order placed yesterday by someone who had died months ago. The first time it happened, I thought it was a glitch. My app pinged, "New order, 3 a.m. delivery. Customer, Margaret Hawthorne, room 412. I froze. Margaret Hawthorne had passed away exactly 9 months prior. I checked the records. Verified death certificate, funeral home logs, everything. Yet the app insisted she had placed a new order. I tried ignoring it, but the next day, the notification returned. Same room, same name, same order details. Groceries, a single red candle, and a note. Don't forget. I arrived at the address, keys jingling, hands trembling. The apartment was empty, locked. I pressed the buzzer. Nothing. No sound, no answer. Yet the delivery app read, "Customer waiting. Signature required." I left the items on the doorstep, snapped a photo, and backed away. The moment my phone registered the confirmation, I felt it. A presence. Cold, watching. Not human. Not entirely. I told myself it was paranoia. That sleep deprivation and constant night shifts were taking a toll. But deep down, I knew the truth. The following nights were worse. Each order escalated. Packages appeared at impossible times, delivered by no one. They weren't just groceries anymore. Candles, photographs, old letters, even objects I didn't recognize, but felt intimately familiar. One night, I opened a small wooden box to find a locket. Inside, a tiny photograph of me sleeping. Taken from above, my bedroom unmistakable. A whispering followed. Not through speakers, not audible inside my head. "I see you. You belong to me now." I attempted to delete her account from my system. Deleted, erased, removed from records. Yet orders persisted. I tried ignoring them. Packages stacked at my doorstep, boxes sealed tightly, rattling, as if something inside was moving. The app pinged endlessly. Notifications flooded my phone. Thank you for your service. Don't leave me waiting. I tried leaving the building once. Walking the streets, breathing the night air. The phone buzzed. Same app, same account, same room number. She had somehow followed me. Sleep became impossible. Every shadow, every creak of a floorboard, every flicker of light reminded me. Margaret Hawthorne was still ordering, still watching, still waiting. The objects arrived faster now. Candles lit themselves. Letters folded open. Photographs changed. Faces in the pictures shifted subtly into mine. My eyes, my expression. I screamed once, alone in the apartment. No one heard. But the locket's photograph now held a new image. My own lifeless body on the bed, eyes wide, mouth open. Friends noticed changes in me. I was pale, jumpy, muttering to myself. I tried explaining the orders, the app, the boxes. Nobody believed me. They laughed nervously, offered distractions. But when I returned home, everything awaited. Packages stacked, dripping wax, letters with my handwriting I had never seen before. The presence grew, cold, unforgiving. One night, I finally confronted it, whispering into the darkness, "What do you want from me?" A reply came, not audible, felt, deep in my chest, pressing against ribs and lungs. Completion, belonging, arrival. The next delivery arrived at exactly 3:33 a.m. I unwrapped it with trembling hands. Inside, a mirror. Antique, heavy, ornate, dusty. My reflection appeared, but not mine alone. Margaret Hawthorne hovered behind me, faint, translucent, smiling. I wanted to flee. My legs refused. My hands shook as I touched the glass. Cold burned through my skin, and in that instant, I felt her essence fusing with mine. I screamed. The mirror cracked. The reflection didn't change. My eyes stared back, wide, terrified. Behind me, Margaret Hawthorne remained, waiting, smiling. Orders continue. I cannot escape. The app pings. Notifications never stop. Candles, letters, objects I do not recognize. Photographs I wish I had never seen. And each time I try to leave, her presence presses heavier, closer. I live for the deliveries now. I exist for them. The boxes arrive on time. The app confirms receipt. The presence watching me never blinks. If you want to understand what it feels like when someone refuses to leave, subscribe. Some customers never die, and some orders never end. GPS route to nowhere. I never should have accepted the midnight shift for the delivery app. Drivers joked about dead zones and glitch locations, but nothing prepared me for the night. I followed a GPS route to a place that didn't exist, yet somehow knew I was coming. It started with an ordinary notification, new delivery. 2:17 a.m. customer, unknown. Address, coordinates only. I hesitated. Coordinates aren't usual. Most customers enter an address or leave an apartment number. But curiosity and payment pushed me forward. The GPS voice guided me into narrow streets, side alleys I didn't recognize. Streetlights flickered, casting long shadows across cracked sidewalks. Trees bent oddly, leaves whispering in the wind as though warning me to turn back. Minutes stretched like hours. The coordinates led to an open field. No houses, no buildings, just tall grass swaying in the moonlight. The app buzzed insistently. "You have arrived." I blinked, looked around. Nothing. No porch. No door. I checked my phone. GPS recalculated. Same spot. Coordinates unchanged. The compass spun slowly, then locked. Something in the darkness shifted, subtle, impossible. Movement where none should have been. I stepped into the field. The ground was soft, damp, unnaturally warm. The hairs on my arms rose. I glanced back at the road. It disappeared. Just empty asphalt dissolving into mist. Then I heard it, faint footsteps deliberate behind me. I spun around. Nothing. The air pressed close, humid, heavy. A whisper. You're here? No direction, no source. Just a presence, closer than any person should be. I tried calling my friend, voice trembling. No signal. The GPS insisted I keep moving forward. My instincts screamed to leave, but I obeyed, almost mechanically. Every step pressed through wet grass, each one echoing unnaturally. Ahead, a light flickered soft orange, like a lantern hovering in the distance. I walked toward it. Shapes emerged, small structures, no more than sheds, scattered randomly. Doors ajar, interiors pitch dark. I couldn't see the floors. Shadows moved inside, as though alive. One shed creaked open. Inside, a small table held objects I recognized. My wallet, my keys, my phone. How? I hadn't brought them. They were placed neatly, as if waiting. The GPS voice broke. Delivery confirmed. It wasn't robotic. It was human. Or something mimicking human cadence. Cold and patient. I reached for the objects. A hand faint, transparent touched mine. Ice shot up my arm. I recoiled. The hand didn't retract. It lingered. I ran. Mist thickened, wrapping around my legs like chains. Every path I took led me back to the same field, the same scattered sheds. Each one held something familiar, personal, intimate. Things I didn't even realize I had lost. Whispers multiplied. Names, secrets, memories. Each shed revealed more than I wanted to see. Fragments of life, distorted, twisted. A photo of me asleep. My wallet opened. Notes I never wrote, yet perfectly legible. I stumbled into the largest shed. Inside, a chair faced a mirror. In it, I saw myself, but older, hollow-eyed, pale. Behind me, shadows crowded the walls, pressing in, reaching, twisting. I spun around. Nothing. Only the field, mist curling like smoke, alive. Then a voice, calm, deliberate, inside my head. Follow the route. Deliver what is ours. Or stay. I couldn't move. My body refused. My mind screamed, yet I obeyed, compelled by something I couldn't name. Every instinct to run dissolved. Every rational thought warped by fear and compulsion. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time had no meaning. I found myself walking endlessly between sheds, each revealing parts of my life I never wanted displayed. Childhood photographs, old letters, objects I thought gone forever. A shadow condensed at the center. It rose, humanoid, stretching unnaturally. The GPS coordinates burned in my memory. They were exact. It knew me, knew where I was going, before I did. It whispered, soft and eternal. You cannot leave. Only continue. Deliver what we demand. I woke or thought I did on the road leading back to town. Morning light painted the horizon. GPS recalculated. No delivery pending. No customer. Yet my hands still trembled. Items from the field clutched loosely. A photograph I did not recognize. And a note, next time, arrive on time. The field, the sheds, the shadows, they hadn't left. I could feel them pressing against my thoughts, lingering in corners, haunting reflections. Now, I drive at night with the app open. Each notification, each route makes me tense. The unknown coordinates still appear. The field waits. And I know, one day, it will claim me entirely. If you want to see what lurks just beyond the streets, you know, subscribe. Some paths don't lead anywhere, and some deliveries are unavoidable. The signature that signed itself. They told me delivery jobs are repetitive, boring, sometimes lonely. But no one warned me about the orders that complete themselves. The moment I realized a package could sign for itself, I knew I'd crossed into something I couldn't escape. It began on a rainy Tuesday. The app pinged with a notification. New delivery. Room 508. Signature required. Routine. I drove through wet streets, lights reflecting on puddles, fog curling along the asphalt. The world felt quiet. Too quiet, like the city was holding its breath. When I arrived at the apartment, the door was slightly ajar. I froze. Most people lock doors when expecting deliveries. My hand hovered over the handle. Something in my gut screamed to leave, but I stepped inside. The hallway smelled faintly of ink and paper, like a freshly printed document left out in the rain. A single envelope lay on the floor, addressed to no one. The handwriting was precise, deliberate, impossibly neat. I picked it up. Inside, a note read simply, "I have signed already. Thank you." Confused, I glanced at the app. Status updated, delivered, signature confirmed, but no one was there. No one had touched the envelope besides me. I returned to my van, heart still racing. Something about the handwriting nagged at me. Familiar, intimately familiar. I didn't recognize it consciously, but my chest tightened in recognition. That night, I tried sleeping. The rain tapped against my window. I felt watched. Shadows of the trees swayed unnaturally. My phone buzzed repeatedly, each notification from the app confirming deliveries I had never made. The following days worsened. Every signature required, yet none involved anyone human. Envelopes appeared at doorsteps, on counters, even in mail slots I had already checked. Each signed, each verified, each with handwriting that seemed to know me intimately. I started to notice my reflection in mirrors. Not right. Subtle differences, my eyes wider, smile tighter, expression anxious. The signature from the envelopes mirrored my own hand movements. One night, I carried an envelope into an apartment. I opened it. A sheet of paper inside was blank. Then, ink bled across the page, forming my own signature, exact in every flourish. My hands shook. I hadn't touched a pen. I dropped it. The paper floated upright, twisting slightly. A whispering filled the room. "It's done. You belong to the record now." I ran. The hallway stretched impossibly. Doors opened to nowhere. Carpets rippled like water. I tried to call for help. Phones, computers, even alarms, they all failed. Only the whispers remained, soft and insistent. Deliveries became personal. The envelopes always found me. My name on every package. My face in every photograph. Notes that weren't there before materialized as soon as I looked away. I avoided mirrors, windows, cameras, but they were everywhere. Reflections flickered independently, sometimes smiling at me, sometimes mouthing words I could not hear. The app confirmed every delivery before I left. Packages moved on their own. Signatures signed themselves, yet all roads led back to me. The tipping point came when a package arrived inside my apartment. No building code, no doorbell. It simply appeared on the counter. I opened it to find a ledger. Pages full of names, addresses, and signatures, my own among them, dated decades in the future. The ink glowed faintly, pulsating as if alive. I touched it. Pain shot up my arm. I pulled back. Each name on the page began to whisper my name, softly, urgently, intimately. I tried burning the ledger. The flames twisted unnaturally, black smoke curling like fingers. The paper reformed instantly, intact, glowing faintly, whispering my name. I realized then that the signatures weren't just marking deliveries. They were claiming me, tethering me to something beyond comprehension. A presence that moved with me, lived in me, and thrived on the confirmation of my existence. Days blurred, my reality fragmented. I saw myself in multiple places, at once walking hallways I had never visited, signing packages I had never delivered. The world felt both familiar and alien. Every street, every building, every shadow seemed designed to trap me in a loop I could not escape. At night, the envelopes stacked around me, glowing faintly. My name repeated endlessly. The ink scratched itself across the papers. My reflection in the window stared back, pale and unblinking. I attempted to leave, walked into the city streets, but every step circled me back to my apartment. Every route, every turn, every corner confirmed what I feared. The signature had marked me. I was claimed. The app pinged. Notification. Delivery confirmed. Next recipient. You. I screamed. No one answered. The envelopes rustled, floating toward me. I felt them brush against my skin, cold and insistent. Each whisper, each folded note pulled me deeper. I sank to the floor, surrounded, trapped, ink pulsating across my vision. Every signature I had ever made, every one I never made, merging, becoming me. If you think your deliveries are mundane, your package is ordinary, think again. Some confirmations aren't just records, they're ownership. And once claimed, you can never leave. Subscribe if you want to explore more deliveries that bind, orders that watch, and signatures that refuse to fade. Some packages will always find you. Some signatures never end. The apartment that wasn't there. I moved into a cheap downtown apartment thinking I'd gotten lucky. The rent was low, the building quiet, but no one told me that some doors lead to rooms that shouldn't exist, or that once you see them, they never stop watching. It started the first night. The hallway smelled of bleach and damp carpet, familiar yet vaguely wrong. I unpacked quickly, eager to sleep, but when I passed the elevator, I noticed a door that hadn't been there before. Numberless, unmarked, slightly ajar. Curiosity nudged me closer. I pressed my ear to it. Nothing. Silence thickened, oppressive. A subtle vibration ran through the floor, almost like the building itself shivering. I shook my head and moved on. Sleep was restless. Shadows in my apartment stretched unnaturally across walls, elongating then snapping back to normal when I blinked. Every creak, every hum, felt like the building breathing around me. I tried to dismiss it, chalking it up to nerves, the cheap construction. Then I heard a knock, faint, deliberate, behind the door that hadn't been there. I froze. I told myself no one lived on this floor yet. No neighbors would knock at midnight. The sound came again, slower, closer. I opened the door. Empty hallway. Only dim light from the main corridor, flickering, nothing. Yet I felt eyes, hundreds of them, pressing from inside the darkened space. A cold draft brushed my skin. I slammed the door. Morning brought no relief. Coffee spilled across the counter. My keys went missing. Small objects I had just touched were nowhere to be found. I chalked it up to fatigue, moving on. But at night, the door reappeared. This time, I dared to enter. The room beyond was small, impossibly tall, walls stretching beyond what the eye could see. Floorboards groaned as I stepped inside. Shadows pooled unnaturally, and faint whispers tickled my ears. Names, mine, my family's, friends. I tried to leave. The door had vanished. I pressed against the walls, felt the grain of the wood pulse under my palms. Each beat echoed in my chest. Every instinct screamed to get out, yet my feet moved forward, drawn toward a light in the far corner. It was a mirror, cracked, yet reflecting not me, but an empty version of my apartment. Furniture displaced, walls warped, and in the reflection, a figure crouched in the shadows. I couldn't see its face, only long limbs and the way it tilted its head unnaturally. When I blinked, it was closer. I turned, empty room. No figure, only the faint smell of dust and old paper. Heart hammering, I backed against the wall, sliding down till I sat on the cold floor. Days blurred. I began to notice subtle changes in my apartment. Objects misplaced. Photographs subtly altered my eyes wider, my smile too sharp, my reflection in windows looking slightly older. Every night, the door appeared. Every night, the room called me back. I stopped leaving. Walks were impossible. The city outside felt irrelevant. Even my phone lost signal once I neared the mysterious door. Messages, calls, the outside world, it didn't exist while I was near. I tried recording video. Camera showed nothing unusual. Yet the moment I played it back, I saw glimpses. A shadow moving independently, a reflection where it shouldn't be. Whispers inaudible to my ears, but captured faintly, almost like the microphone was straining to hear another world. Sleep became impossible. When I closed my eyes, I still saw the room. The tall walls, the cracks in the mirror, the figure watching. Dreams and reality blurred. I forgot how long I had been trapped between the real and the impossible. I attempted to leave, packed a bag, fled in the middle of the night, walked down hallways, out the elevator. Yet the next morning, I was back. Keys in hand, package on the floor, my own belongings rearranged, familiar and alien. The door waited, always waiting. I screamed for help. Neighbors never answered. Management never returned calls. The building itself seemed alive, shifting subtly, reshaping hallways while I wasn't looking. One night, I entered the room willingly. It wasn't just a door anymore. Walls stretched endlessly, ceiling vanished. Shadows coalesced into figures, resembling people I knew, friends, strangers, past strangers. All of them stared, silent, unmoving. In the center, the figure crouched in the mirror reflection rose. Face obscured, yet I felt it know me, know my thoughts, my fears, my secrets. Its presence pressed on my chest, whispered my name with familiarity that should have terrified me more than the unknown. I realized then that the apartment wanted something from me. Observation, perhaps. Attention. Fear. Every step I had taken led me here, each glance confirming its power. I was no longer a tenant. I was part of the building, a fixture. I tried to fight it. Slammed doors, banged on walls, ran from hallways. Every action reset, every choice erased. The building claimed my will. Now, I exist in liminal spaces. Awake and asleep are indistinguishable. The hallway outside my apartment has no end. The door waits. The room waits. Shadows stretch, mirror reflects, whispers continue. I write this down hoping someone, anyone, sees it. The building knows. It watches. And if you subscribe, you'll see what I mean. Some spaces are meant to trap, some rooms are never empty, and some doors once opened never close.